Welcome back to Arkham Horror First Edition! Up first, Joe Diamond. Joe Diamond's sitting here right now, currently in the sanitarium. He got a few brain cells back last time because his was pretty low, and now he's fully pumped. And so he's going to roll 2 dice to see how far he can move. And wow, he can go 10, but unfortunately, when you run into a monster in the street, that's kind of the end of your movement. So, boom, he runs into the Night Gaunt. Now, if he fails an attack of the Night Gaunt, it's just going to dump him into a gate, which is actually good. He kind of wants to fail the fight. But you also want to get rid of these things too, because you don't want a whole bunch of monsters flying around the board or walking around the board, blocking your path and making you go insane. And so I'm not sure if we do everything for Joe Diamond's turn simultaneously. I think we do. So he's going to run into this guy. Actually, I think all players move first. I forget exactly. I think all players roll and move, and then you have all your encounters with monsters and everything. So Joe Diamond basically gets blocked by the Night Gaunt in the street, and we'll get to him. All right, up next is Harvey Walters, who's sitting currently at the library. He didn't really get much last time, and he can move 8 spaces. He wants to kind of pop through a gate, be the best thing for him. So can he get to the graveyard gate? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Boom! He's going to pop through the gate, and whoo, this gate goes to another dimension. And it's 13 to destroy by physical/magical attack. Alright, so I'm not sure how easily you can see that. So he's going to another dimension. So boom, up here he goes to the number 2 space on another dimension. Because he wants to go through the gate. The name of the game is to close the gates. Alright, we have Carolyn Fern here, who is trying to get to the newspaper, and she's got 9. Does she want to still go to the newspaper? Does she want to go to the Historical Society? Does she want to go to the Dagon Mission? Dark's Carnival? We don't know. I think she's just going to pop into the newspaper. I know that's kind of anticlimactic, but there you go. All right, we're going to zoom down, and then we're going to start having all of the encounters happen. We're going to start with Joe Diamond. He's, of course, messing it, tangling up with the Night Gaunt. Alright, we're starting with Joe Diamond. The first thing you do is a sanity check. Now his sanity right now, he pumped up in the sanitarium at 7. And if we look at the Night Gaunt here, if you fail your sanity check, you take 1 sanity damage, and if you pass it, you take none. Well, he can't fail it because you roll a d6 and you have to roll higher than your current sanity. His current sanity is 7, so it doesn't even fizz him. It does have a strength of 14 though, so if he's going to fight it right now, which he has to do, he needs a 14 or higher total amount of fight damage to take it out. Let's take a look at Joe Diamond's character and see how he's going to pull that off. Alright, so taking a look at Joe Diamond, he has an outright fight of 5, a +1 fight, so he's got 6, plus he has the shotgun giving him 12 physical damage. It's two-handed. So he starts off with a base of 12, and he's going to roll a 6-sided die. So he needs a 2 or higher to win the fight. Let's get out a die, roll it up, and see if he can roll 2 or higher. That'll give him a 14. Alright, we're going to get out the 2 dice, and he rolls one of them. You roll 1d6, and come on, Joe, don't roll a 1. Don't roll a 1. And he rolls a 4, so that gives him 12 and 4, 16. He is able to take out the Night Gaunt because its strength is a 14. So boom, he eliminates the Night Gaunt. Way to go, Joe. So Joe is he's cleaning up the streets. Up next we have Harvey Walters, and Harvey is in another dimension. So let's take a look at that and see what Harvey has to do in another dimension. Alright, so if we take a look at this Arkham Gazette, this comes with the game, he is in another dimension. So we're going to roll a 6-sided die for Harvey, and then we're going to consult the another dimension table. So yes, 1987 game, what do you want? He rolls a 6. I don't know if that's good or not. A 6, the dimensions shift again. You see yourself clearly, gain 1 sanity point. Alright, well, you know what? Harvey is so sane right now, he can't gain a sanity point because he's at 7 and 7. So that was at least a good roll. And then he would move over here next time. I think he moves that next time, and then he has another encounter. So you basically have to have 2 encounters, and then you return to Arkham. So right now, he's doing well out there in another dimension. Alright, we have Carolyn Fern sitting here at the newspaper. So we have to find the newspaper in here, and she's going to roll a 6-sided die. We'll also do that right now. And she rolls, it went right off the board, but it was a 3. She rolls a 3, so let's find the newspaper and see what 3 is. Alrighty, so with the newspaper, 3 was the perfect roll. 3 or 4. It says, enter George Walker offers you a retainer of $2 per turn in return for all your fascinating stories. Take retainer card and collect from the bank at the beginning of each turn. You may not sell stories in the newspaper or Miskatonic University if you accept. If no retainers or cards, or if you accept. So if there's no retainer cards available, if you refuse, there's no encounter. Well, of course we're going to take a retainer. That means we're going to be getting $2 at the start of every turn for her. So receive $2 in the bank at the beginning of each turn for the rest of the game. That is cool. It means Carolyn Fern is going to be loaded with cash. I don't know if it's going to do her any good, but she might. If she's loaded with cash, she might want to head over to Curiosity Shop or things of that nature. That would be right on. Okay, that was Carolyn's encounter. So everyone's had their encounter. We do know now that this goes to another dimension. We have monsters on the board. But of course, now we have to roll on the gate appearance table because we're going to get a gate. We're going to get a monster. They just keep on a-coming. Remember, 8 gates on the board at any one time, even if we've gone through them. It's game over. If we get to Doom of Arkham, it's game over. We're trying to close all gates at the same time. Very challenging, as you'll see. I don't know if we're going to get there. But yeah, let's consult the table, roll a couple dice, and see where our gate and monster appear. Alright, so we have our handy-dandy little gate appearance table here. We'll take a couple of the dice, and we roll them, and we get a 7. 5 and 2, 7. Yes, I got that right. So at a 7, Founder's Rock. Well, Founder's Rock already has a gate on it. So all that will happen at Founder's Rock is we'll get a monster there. So that's actually not bad. It doesn't add another gate to the board. It doesn't increase the doom factor. So not terrible. All right, let's go and see what we can do at Founder's Gate. All right, so at Founder's Rock, we're just going to get a monster. So in the bag of excitement, we're just going to pull out a monster. Oh, there are so many in this bag. We pull out... Okay, and it doesn't move. No, it's a power. Strength 23. Sanity loss 2 if you pass your sanity check. D6 plus 1. Only magic harms it. Well, Joe Diamond has the bind monster spell, and I believe you can just banish a monster with it. So, wow. That's a nasty thing to have sitting at the gate. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, and now it's time for all monsters to move. Alright, well we currently have 4 monsters on the board. Let's start with the Gug over here. It just goes 1 and 2. I'm going to flip these over after I move them so I remember, and it's a blocker, so it blocks taxis. You can walk into it passive, but you cannot drive your vehicle, so it's going to block this intersection. Well, we do now have the Elder thing is going to go 5 right-handed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it blocks off the boarding house entrance. And of course this power doesn't move, it just sits there. That's bad news. And then we have the Dimensional Chamber going right 3, 1, 2, 3, so it's just going here. Alright, so these guys have all moved. That's what's sitting out on the board. And we currently have Harvey Walters there doing a good job out in another space. We're going to zoom out and very quickly we're going to wrap up our episode for today. Alright, so that's a pretty quick episode for today, but I do want to just keep this down to 1 turn an episode. So we have 3 gates on the board. We're at a doom factor of 3. And we have, wow, that power coming out. That's nasty. I think we might have to use the bind monster spell that Joe Diamond has, which is banish monster from her. So we can just banish it. I think when you banish it, though, it goes back in the bag, so it can show up again later. Yee, bad news, but that's just bad news. It's going to blow your mind. Now you can sneak by it and go into the gate, but for sneaking you'd have to have a pretty darn good sneak. And you have to do the sanity check anyway, doesn't matter what you do. You could blow your mind completely and go insane and end up in the asylum just to try to sneak by to get into the gate. So that's bad news. Anyway, thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. This is Arkham Horror 1st edition all the way back to 1987. It's actually kind of fun. It's kind of quick. You lose pretty quickly, but there's lots of fun things that go on. And yes, it's just a whole bunch of tables that you roll 1d6. But let's not forget, this is a pretty old school game. But you know what? I had a lot of fun playing this back in the day, and I'm having fun playing it here right now. So we'll see you tomorrow for the continuation, Arkham Horror 1st edition. Correction time. Yes, when we rolled the 7 for Founders Rock, we also have, it says +1 monster appears on each gated location. So we got the Guardian at Founders Rock, but we have 2 other gated locations, and we need a monster on each one. So let's reach in the bag and grab a monster for each one of them. Then they're going to move as well, so we forgot that part. Sorry about that. Well, you just knew it wasn't going to be a cakewalk, didn't you? Alright, so we needed a monster here. So Harvey already jumped through the gate, but now a monster appears behind him, and we get a ghoul. Okay, a ghoul is actually not horrible. Left-handed 6. It's going to move, so let me get them out first. So ghoul appears there, and up at the other location, the Silver Twilight Lodge, we get, reaching into the bag, we get, oh my god, is that a Shoggoth? Oh no! Alright, the Shoggoth, oh yoy. Weapons do 1 point of damage, so you got to take this guy out with magic apparently. And he goes right 6. So as you can see, as the game progresses and all these monsters start coming out, they are going to block traffic everywhere. So this guy is going to go left-handed and 6. So he's going to come 1, hang a left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's just going to keep wandering the streets, going 6. And this guy is a lovely right 6. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we go. A couple more monsters out on the board. Apologize for the error. At least we don't have a Guardian here, so when Harvey comes back, maybe he can close the gate. All right. Apologize for that. Yeah, I gotta do a little more reading here. So anyway, thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Continuation. Arkham Horror, 1st edition.